CS 101 is a teaching lab. CS 101 is primarily used for teaching programming, but specifically using a Mac OS. These are used in courses such as mobile applications and Objective-C or Swift programming. The room provides an evacuation plan so that it can direct students in case of emergencies. The room also has a phone that they could use to contact the department or any other office in the campus in case of questions, emergencies, or if they need help with anything in the room. The lab provides the instructor a lectern that has a navigational touch panel, a Mac Mini, an Apple TV, a dock cam, auxiliary cables so that they could also hook up their own machines to a Epson PowerLight Pro G7500 projector. There is a white screen that they can pull down to make it easier to view what is projected, or they can also use the whiteboard to write information on the board that they can share with students. The instructor can use their own devices or the Apple machines that are available in the lectern so that they could show their code, their applications, and demo the applications and give instructions to students. CS 101 also provides a printer, an HP LaserJet 600 printer that instructors or students can use to print out their code or any information they need to be printed. There are 34 machines available for students to use. The specifications are an Apple iMac 27 in 5K. This is the 2019 version. It dual boots to Mac OS Mojave 10.14.6 and Ubuntu. Each machine has an Intel Core i5 3GHz processor with 32 GB of RAM and an AMD Radeon Pro 570K 4GB graphics card. They can also keep the machine so that they have full access to the table, especially if they are working on written worksheets or discussing amongst groups in group discussions. Each student can easily access the machine by simply popping up the panel on the table. They can bring up the machine and take out the keyboard and the mouse for easy access. They also have access to a power outlet that has USB ports that allow students to use their own machines and plug it in for power. CS 104 is a teaching lab primarily used for teaching programming. The room has an evacuation plan that students and instructors can refer to in case of emergencies. The instructor has access to a lectern that has a navigational touch panel, a Dell Precision T1700 computer, an Apple TV, a dock cam, and auxiliary cables. The instructor could either use the machine that is installed on the lectern, or they could also use their own machine and connect it through the auxiliary cables. The instructor could use the Epson PowerLight Pro G6750 WU4 projector to project what they have either on the computer from the lectern or their own machines that they usually use to demo programs, to show code, or demonstrate other software that they use in class. All students have access to a machine There are 46 PCs in the room. Each PC is a Dell Precision T1700 computer. It has a dual boot operating system, Windows 10 and Ubuntu, that are both used in classes in the department. The machine has an Intel Core i7-4770 3.4 GHz processor with 16 GB of RAM and an NVIDIA Quadro K600 graphics card. Students can easily access the machine by propping up the panel that will reveal the monitor, the keyboard, and the mouse that they can then use to work on their class activities. In case they need more space, they can easily hide the machine so they have full access to the table. In each table, there are also power outlets that they can use to connect their own devices or machines in case they prefer to use them. They can use the table for their worksheets and for group discussions. The lab also has an HP LaserJet 600 M601 printer that both instructors and students can use to print out code or any other information that they need printed. The room has a white screen that can be used for the projector that will make it easier for them to view the projection. They can also use the whiteboard from the front or to the back of the room for discussions. So CS408 is mostly used for teaching programming. First and foremost, the room has a lectern for the instructor to use. This has a navigational touch panel, a Dell Optiplex 3050, an Apple TV, and has auxiliary cables that allow them to either use the machine on the lectern or plug in their own laptops so that they can use this for their class. The instructor also uses a ceiling projector, which is an Epson PowerLight Pro G7500, so that they can show their screen in class. There is a screen that they can pull down to make it easier to view the projection. And they also have a whiteboard that they can write on for discussions. And the students themselves have their own computers. There are 40 PCs that are available in the lab. They are Dell Optiplex 3050 SFF, and they are dual booted to Windows 10 and Ubuntu, as both operating systems are being used by students. It has 32 GB of RAM. It has an Intel Core i5-7500 3.4 GHz processor and an Intel HD Graphics 630 display. So the interesting feature that we have in this lab is it doubles for tables that students could use when they're working on groups, when they're writing on worksheets. And if they need to use the computer, they can simply prop up the panel and they can take out the monitor, the mice, and the keyboard, and they can immediately start coding. If they need, again, the space to use, they can always put down the monitor, the keyboard, and the mouse, and they can use the full table for working on worksheets, working in groups. So it's very convenient for students to shift in the type of learning that they want to do. Each table also has a power outlet with a USB port, which allows students to charge their own devices As there is a lot of space on the table, they could bring their own laptops or tablets or any of their devices, and they will always have access to power.